How many of you guys are thinking about dedicating one class and 1/4 of your career at UCLA to a second language class? And yeah. How many of you guys dread the fact that you have to relive the horrors of like retaking Spanish, French, or even a Latin class? All right, so I have news for you. You guys should definitely take an American Sign Language class because it's a fun class where you'll actually learn something new. You'll be able to communicate with somebody that's either deaf or partakes in a sign language class, or it's just a great experience to learn something new. So this quarter, I'm taking a sign language class, an American Sign Language class, also known as ASL. So my teacher, Mr. Nichols, is completely deaf. And throughout the class, I was able to learn how to communicate with him other than like writing down on a piece of paper. And I was able to understand what he's telling to us as he signs to us. So my speech will be about the history of sign language, some fun facts about sign language, and my experience in my sign language class and why you guys should take it, because I'm really trying to convince you to take it. Okay, so the history of sign language. Back then, people were not as open-minded as they are today. They thought people who were either like deaf or mute were dumb, basically. So they didn't give them the time of day until the 16th century, when an Italian teacher discovered that he was able to teach people who were deaf and hard of hearing sign language. He figured that he could teach them how to like understand symbols pertaining to the word that it is, because it's like if you're deaf, you really can't understand what A, B, C is if they can't like hear it. So as time went by, people discovered that people started writing manuals for people to understand how to read for sign language. In 1620, a French man named Debonnet wrote the first manual for people to understand how to sign and how to read sign language. And an American reverend actually named Thomas Gallaudet in 1850 went to France to learn how to sign in sign language, and basically brought it to America. So it's like that's the beginning of sign language in America. And unfortunately, during the later 1800s, Italians were like, oh no, they should learn how to read like correctly and not like read letters or the characters pertaining to their country's language instead of learning how to write with their hands, like sign with their hands. But like through time, people started teaching their children how to sign in secret, and basically sign language evolved into the celebrated type of language that people sign in today. So some facts about sign language. American Sign Language is not a universal language. No sign language is universal. Basically, American Sign Language is its own language. It's not English spoken in sign, it's just sign language. Because sign language has its own grammatical structure, its own words, and obviously its own signs. So you can't speak an American Sign Language to another person who speaks like French Sign Language or Japanese Sign Language. Because if you're trying to describe your brother or sister to a Japanese person, you're basically flicking them off if you say brother or sister. So yeah, there's what's it called? Like there's a lost in translation kind of thing. So don't speak to somebody of Japanese or any other any other language, sign language speaking person other than American Sign Language. Okay, so yeah, my experience in sign language is pretty awesome because, like I said, Mr. Nichols is deaf, and I totally recommend you taking his class because it's like cooler to take a class where you have to talk to him other than writing and being lazy and say, oh, how do you say this? Instead you can say, how sign this? And then it's like, it's awesome because it's just like you learn something. So you learn how to finger spell, which is like you spell with your hands and say, oh, soda, for instance, you spell it like this, soda. And then in time, you'll learn how to sign soda and say soda. That's it. It's really awesome class, and you'll actually learn something new. So I recommend that anybody take this class and help the other 1 million other American citizens who are deaf and all the college students who are cool enough to take this class and learn something new. So in conclusion, you learned the history of sign language, and I hope you guys appreciate the difficulties that people who are deaf had to go through and how it evolved into the sign language that we know today. You guys need learn some facts, learning that American Sign Language is its own language, and that you really can't translate it to somebody else, to some other country. And you knew my experience, which is awesome. I'm learning how to sign in sign language, and I can actually almost converse with somebody pretty well. So one more thing, if you guys think that you're not gonna be able to use sign language, you can. Like if you and your friends decide to take it, and let's say you guys are in lecture hall 1 and you can't text because the reception is horrible or you're sitting too far to send a note, you guys can sign to them and say, oh, how you doing, or what are we doing later on, or something like that. Or if you take an occupation like a nurse, a social worker, or if you're just a bystander who sees that a deaf person who is signing is struggling to get his point across, you could help them out. I hope I can get you to take it.